Monica here, and welcome back to Kami Cat Creations. In this video, I'm teaching you how to make this really cute kimono style jacket with the fun sleeves and the fringe on the bottom. I love these little kimono jackets. I think they are the perfect piece for this time of year to layer when it's cool in the mornings and nights, but a little warmer during the day. It's just a great accessory. I've had some requests recently asking if I could do another tutorial with non-stretch fabric, so I made sure to use a non-stretch fabric for this one, and it's going to be super easy to sew. I really hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, I would love it if you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more, and let's go ahead and get sewing. For this project, you'll need at least 1.5 yards of a non-stretch fabric. I used a light fabric for a flowy effect, but something heavier would work too. You'll also need 1.5 to 2 yards of fringe trim, at least 2 yards of a double fold bias tape, and a loose-fitting t-shirt to use as a template. I'm repping St. Jude Children's Research Hospital with my shirt, which is an amazing cause. Start by folding the sleeves into the center of the shirt and adjust them so you can see the slight curved shape of each armhole. Then fold the shirt in half down the center to create a template for the kimono bodice. Fold a portion of your fabric over wide enough to fit your shirt and lay the shirt down so that its center fold lines up with the fold of the fabric. Then pin it into place. Begin cutting a 1/2 inch larger than the shirt to allow for hem and seam allowance by following the shape of the neckline, shoulder, armhole, and side, and then cut it as long or as short as you'd like the kimono to be. I cut mine just a little longer than my t-shirt. Remove the t-shirt and unfold your fabric to reveal what looks like a giant tank top shape. Use it as a guide to cut a second identical piece of fabric and set one of them aside for the back of the kimono so we can cut this other piece down to create the 2 front pieces. To do that, fold this piece in half down the center and cut from this point where the neckline and shoulder meet down to the bottom of your kimono where it's folded in half. So you'll basically just cut a diagonal line connecting those 2 points. When you separate the fabric, you'll have 2 pieces that look like this. Lay the solid back piece with the correct side of the fabric facing up, then lay one of the front pieces on top of it so the correct sides of both pieces face together. Repeat with the other front piece, and then pin and sew along the shoulders and sides to join the pieces. Use a 1/2 inch seam allowance and a straight stitch, always back stitching whenever you start and stop sewing, and remove the pins as you go. Then take this to the ironing board and open up and iron down the seam allowances so they lay neatly. To create a sleeve template, lay your shirt out again so the sleeve is flattened out where this straight edge is the folded edge of the sleeve. This slightly curved seam is where the sleeve and armhole are sewn together, and this diagonal seam is where the sleeve is sewn together. Lay a sheer piece of paper, like tissue or tracing paper, down so the straight edge is lined up with the folded edge of your sleeve, and trace the sleeve shape by following along that curved seam, then tracing the edges of the sleeve. Right where the folded edge of your sleeve was on the pattern before removing the shirt and cutting out the pattern, which will look something like this. Fold a portion of your remaining fabric over and lay your pattern down so the edge you marked fold is lined up with the fold of the fabric, and pin it down. We're using this as a guide to cut the wider kimono sleeves, so start by cutting a 1/2 inch larger along the top curved edge, and extend your cutting a 1/2 inch beyond the side of the pattern. Then, to create the kimono sleeves, angle your cutting outward to get 2 to 3 inches wider than the pattern as you go down. The wider you cut, the wider the bottom of the sleeve will be. Then cut the sleeve as long or as short as you'd like. Remove the pattern and unfold your fabric to reveal a shape similar to this, and use it to cut a second identical sleeve. Fold your sleeve in half with the correct sides facing together and pin and sew along the long flared edge, then repeat with the other sleeve before opening up and ironing the seam allowances down. Use a straight pin to mark the top center point that will sit at the shoulders on each sleeve, which is helpful when attaching them to the bodice. To attach them, turn your bodice inside out and your sleeve right side out, and match up and pin together that point you marked with a pin on the sleeve to the outside shoulder seam on your bodice, and then match and pin the armpit seam on the sleeve to the armpit seam on the bodice. Then line up and pin the curved portions together. The easiest way to do this is to flip the sleeve over and push the end of the sleeve in through the armhole. That way the pieces are lined up with the correct sides facing together, and you can easily match up the pin on your sleeve to the shoulder seam on the bodice and pin them together. Then line up the armpit seams on the sleeve and bodice and pin them together as well. Next, you'll need to line up and pin together the raw edges around the rest of the armhole in smaller increments to prepare for sewing. When you're done pinning, sew around the armhole to attach the sleeve, then repeat this process with the opposite sleeve. To hem them, turn the kimono inside out and fold the raw edge over 1/4 inch once, then fold it again another 1/4 inch and pin it down. Do this around the entire sleeve, then sew to secure the hem before repeating on the other sleeve. To neatly finish the opening of the kimono, turn the kimono right side out, grab your double fold bias tape, and open the bias tape up just once so it's no longer completely folded. Bring it down to the bottom of the opening and place the raw edge of the kimono inside the bias tape. Then fold it back in half so you've captured the kimono fabric between it. Pin it into place, then use your finger to smooth the next few inches of bias tape around the kimono fabric, pin it again, and repeat this process of wrapping the bias tape around the opening, smoothing it out, and pinning every few inches. Wrap it up and around the back of the neckline, and then back around the other side until the entire opening is covered with bias tape. Sew around the bias tape to secure it, and as you'll see, this creates a really neat opening and a fun detail if you use a contrasting color. Trim any excess bias tape off so it lines up evenly with the bottom edge. The final step is to add fringe to the bottom, so grab that now. The fringe comes with a thick band along the top, which you'll sew along, and yours may also have thread along the bottom that keeps the fringe secure, which you'll remove when you're done sewing. Lay your kimono with the correct side facing up, so you're looking at the bottom edge. Lay the fringe down so that its edge is lined up with the opening of the kimono, and the fringe's band is lined up with the bottom edge, so the fringe is upside down. Pin it down and continue lining that band up and pinning along the bottom edge all the way across until you get to the opposite side. Sew across the fringe to attach it, making sure to sew right along the point where the band ends and the fringe starts, so you'll only see the fringe hanging down when it's done. Take your time so you keep the fringe from being caught in your stitches. Flip the fringe over so that it hangs down, and make sure to tuck the fringe's band behind the bottom of the kimono. Then top stitch across the fabric just above the fringe to secure that band to the back of the kimono, which helps the fringe hang more neatly. And now your kimono jacket is complete, so rock your new accessory. Thanks for watching, y'all. Here's a yellow jacket on my tripod. Ooh, what the heck? Attack of the Squirrels. Ooh, jacket with the my mom. What a troublemaker. Peace out.